we've talked about functions and what they look like. Today we're talking about function rules and how we can apply them. Function rule is an equation that describes the relationship between inputs, which is independent variables. What are they also called? What do we call them? What values? X values. And then outputs are what? Y values. Okay. They're also going to be called, our X is going to be called our domain. So you might see that. Our Y values are called our range. So you might see them called that. They have 4 different names. They're all the same. They're all very, very simple. So let's look at the first one. It says the output is 5 less than the input. What's the output? Our Y value. Oh, let's go back. Yeah, let's look at this. My bad. Okay. Let's talk about this function. So we're given the function y equals 3x. What was our input here? -2. So we take our input and we're going to plug it in. 3 times -2, which gives us -6. What is the ordered pair for this function rule situation? What was our x? That was our y. Huh? What was our -2? -2 is our input. Our y value, our output was what? -6. Okay. So we are going to write some function rules. They're going to look like this, like y equals 3x. They're going to have an x, they're going to have a y. They might have some other type of coefficient or a constant that we're adding or subtracting. So the output, we already said is y, was input. X. What does 5 less mean? -5. Okay, so let's write this function. Y equals, how am I gonna write my input in my input with the 5 less that -5? Not -5x, because that's multiplying. No, not 6. We have to write it in relationship to x. What is -5? What's that? If we were to have something and -5, what operation are we using? We have x. What's our operation, though? No, not multiplication. A negative number is the same as what? What operation? Add, subtract, multiply, divide. Subtraction, less 5. X minus 5. Okay. We could also write it as y equals -5 plus x. That's an acceptable way to do it. Why do you think I wrote it like this? Okay. What does this look like? What form is this? What form is it? Y equals 1x minus 5. What is this? What is this called? A linear equation. It's a linear function. And how do we write a linear function most of the time? What's its formula? Y equals what? There's an x involved. Mx plus b. Right? This is slope intercept form. This is how we normally use it to graph. Right? So that's why I chose to write it like this versus like this, because I wrote it in slope intercept form because it's a linear function. So let's look at the next one. What does output mean? Y. What does square mean? Second power. And input is x. So I'm going to write my function y equals x to the second power. Is this a linear function? No. Why not? The second power makes it not a linear function. Okay. So I didn't say you were wrong. Okay. So this one's a linear function. This is a non-linear function. Okay. We'll talk a lot more about linear versus nonlinear functions, but I want to make sure that we can see that now. Okay, try the next one on your own. You know what output means, you know what input means. You guys know what a fourth means. So try that. I thought she said y equals 1/4 x. Okay, so this is our function for the triad. We're going to evaluate a function. Evaluating a function means that we're going to plug in a variable. So on the first one, what are we going to plug in? What are we given? What does it give us? X equals 3. So we're going to plug this in. Y equals 2 times 3 plus 5. Okay, so this went in right there. What's 2 times 3? 6. What's 6 plus 5? 11. Okay. So for the next 3, you're going to use 5 for x. So everywhere you see an x, you're going to put a 5 here, here, also here. Okay, I'll get you set up on the first one. Y equals 4 times what? 5 minus 1. So put this in. It is. It is easy. Put it in, calculate it. I'm going to come around and check your answers for 2, 3, and 4. You don't even need that long. About to. Okay. 2, 3, 4. There's the answers. And the work. I'm going to flip to the next page. The next page is not anything new. We've done this before. We did. So we have an input and output table, and then an ordered pair. These aren't new. X and Y tables, we've done them. We did them at the beginning of last chapter. Okay, so we're going to graph this function. Here's our function. I'm going to make an X and a Y table using the points it gives me, -1, 0, 1, 2. And these came from here. I just took them from the problem. So I'm going to plug these in to my x value. Negative 2 times negative 1 plus 1. Negative 2 times negative 1 plus 1. What do I get? Okay. For the next one, I'm going to plug in 0. Negative 2 times 0 plus 1. Negative 2 times 0 plus 1 gives me 1. Negative 2 times 1 plus 1 gives me negative 1. And then the last one, negative 2 times 2 plus 1, it's negative 3. Yep. Okay, let's take this guy, this function, let's graph him. We're going to graph our function. Negative 1, 3. 0, 1. 1, negative 1. 2, negative 3. Okay. I'm going to make my line. Okay. So for the next 3, like I said, this isn't new. You're going to take negative 1, 0, 1, and 2, plug those in. I'll get started on the first one with you. Okay. So I'm going to plug in exactly what I see. For my x, negative 1 plus 1 gives me negative 1 plus 1, 0. Okay. Then you'll do 0 plus 1, which is 1. Okay, keep going. I'm going to put those 2 dots. Okay. Keep going with the other ones, and then we'll go over them in just a moment. Okay, so here's the rest of the first function. When I add 1 plus 1, I get 2. When I add 1 plus 2, I get 3, and I graphed it. These points came from, hold on. I took negative 3 times negative 1, got me 3 for my first one. And then negative 3 times 0 gave me 0. Negative 3 times 1 gave me negative 3. Negative 3 times 2, negative 6. Okay, so I just plugged into my function where my x was. So let's graph it. Negative 1, positive 3. 0, 0, 1, negative 3, and then I have 2, negative 6. It's going to fall off my graph. I'm going to leave it alone. Okay, I don't need to worry about it. Because how many points do I need to graph a line? 2. I've got 3, so I'm good to go. Okay. The next one, I did not do at all. So we're going to plug them in together. I'm going to plug in 3 times, what's my first x value? First x value, negative 1 plus 2. 3 times negative 1 plus 2 equals negative 1. 3 times 0 plus 2 gives us 2. 3 times 1 plus 2. Okay. 3 times 2 plus 2 is 8. Okay, let's graph them. Negative 1, negative 1. 0, positive 2. 1, 5 is going to run off the graph. And 2, 8 is going to run off the graph. Do I have enough points to graph? How many points do I need to graph a line? 2. I got 2. We're good. Okay. Otherwise, we have to go in and find some more. I don't want to do that. Okay. So that's this function here. You guys are going to have a quizzes and then your exit ticket. The exit ticket is going to look a lot like this, what we did today. Let me stop this. Goodbye, friends who watched.